Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch.
Saturday night is the loneliest night in the week.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the heavy metal happy hour with the one and only Fishman.
I know that, dude.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Everyone get out!
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia, because what if it's all true?
Does the real world seem unsatisfying?
It's boring, but it's part of my life.
Well, time to level up and reboot reality. Join Toxic Mike and Demonoid as they explore the ever-evolving world of virtual reality and everything it has to offer. Whether you're just starting out or you've been there from the beginning, Reboot Reality will introduce, educate, and guide you to the best in VR. Find it wherever you get podcasts at toxicradio.net or on the free Toxic Radio app. Reboot Reality. Log in and get immersed.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host Donnie Hart here, and I am live from the Toxic Radio studio, and I am joined by the so amazing, so beautiful, so dashing co-host of mine.
Oh, so smart.
Co-host.
How's it going, everyone?
And we are joined by the so smart, so dashing, so beautiful, so amazing, the coach of the year, the coach that you love, the coach that you hate, Scott Bozart. Scott?
How everybody doing?
Scott, you like that? You like that little introduction? I should have done.
Good,
From where are you from? Millville? From Millville, New Jersey. Bridgeton, New Jersey. Make you sound a little better from Millville, you know. let me do the announcing job. No, man, I'm just kidding. You're from Bridgeton. You're proud Bridgeton guy. You're proud Millville guy because you did the football there. You coached there. You know, you do a lot in them communities down there. Scott, you're coaching down there. You grew up down there playing in the programs too, correct?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, that's a cool thing about it. It's always cool to see somebody go back to where they developed as a kid and where they learned a lot, because I've been talking so much about the effects coach have on your life, coaches in general. I think that's like one of the big thing we talk about a lot. And that's why I love having you on. We had you on like 2-3 weeks ago, and we had to bring you back on. We didn't get to cover everything, and since then you had some awesome stuff. So we had you on last time, Andrew. Just what did we talk about a little, just for people who didn't watch? We went over Scott.
So Scott, if I remember correctly, you didn't even play the championship game. You guys were getting ready for that.
Correct.
So, and I know you have an update on for that with us, right?
Yes, I do.
Give it to him, Scotty.
Well, you gotta tell the folks what game, what team. Tell us what team. Do you have those notes? What team you're coaching, Scott? No, Scott's here to tell us. Scott, so you coach many teams, but they actually did a news story on you that was awesome. Mateo did that over there. What was it, 6ABC maybe, or one of them?
Yeah, 6ABC.
Yeah, he did the awesome story on you, and it was just about how you're coaching these kids. A lot of them, you know, they really need that male figure, that role model in their life. And tell us more about that team and the championship, Scott. You tell the story best.
Well, this last week ago, we won a championship against the Team Yellow, Team Gray. My little ones won by 5. We won it at the end. It was a real great game, back and forth. I didn't win by 10 like I thought I would, but that's all right. We still won. They gave it all. They kept fighting, kept trying, kept doing this, doing that. We did different things this time, so we stopped that. And my big ones, we just outplayed them and won the championship.
Outplayed and outcoached.
And my star was there, so that even helped.
So you won.
Now.
Yeah, you got the champion, but like you said, if people don't understand, I feel like there's so much more than just a trophy and just wins and losses.
Yes.
You told us some last time. What does it mean coaching these kids, and being their coach and leading them to a championship?
Well, it's like more about life to me. And like I said, it's teaching them the environment, how to respect people, how to listen for you act, play for you act. Just concentrate, focus, lock in.
Scott, I could have used your coaching like 8 years ago, 7 years ago in my life. Where were you? Think before you act. Nah, but you teach them, and these kids you teach a couple different ages, but a lot of them, a lot of your kids are around like that 13, where kids are really a lot of things they can be influenced by in life. And like you mentioned before, some of them, not all of them, but some come from rough backgrounds. They might not have a father in their life, and having somebody who, especially somebody like you, who's overcome so much, they can see the kind of person you are. You've overcome your own obstacles in life through cerebral palsy and all the other obstacles you've overcome in life to coach these kids. And I feel like your example and just them watching what you do, I feel like that has such an effect on these kids. They tell you that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, they do it. Every day they do. Every day. They call me, they check on me. The parents check on me. How good I did over how I changed our kids' lives, and they're focused now, going to school and everything. So let's see what happens after this now.
Anything after that championship? You just won that championship recent. I know that was something real big for you going on in your life. Any moments you like to share from that championship with them kids, with them parents that you became so close with? Any lessons, talks, anything you want to share, Scott?
That's the love they gave me, and the respect and the loyalty. They came to practice every day. They reached out to me. They talked to me. They have questions. They asked me. They weren't scared. These kids are just great kids. I don't know what else to say about them because they're great. They learned basketball this year, and like I said, they're basketball in life. They were expecting that, and to this day, they great attitude to me.
What do you think having somebody like yourself, a coach, and somebody who's teaching these kids just more than the game of basketball, what kind of effect do you think this can have? Do you think, just some 12-year-old who's playing basketball with you for maybe a couple months out of a year, do you feel like you're able to change? You might be able to plant the seed, say, to change, or?
Yeah, I changed lives. I did. I had one kid, never thought he could do it. Now he knows he can do a lot of stuff now to this day. He saw me. If I could change my life, he could change his at an early age. But I mean, like I said, I was going through a lot of stuff when I was younger until I got older. But I got around them obstacles, and I fought, and he fought. So I think I did a good job with these kids.
What kind of obstacles would you say, Scott, you fought through to get to where you're somebody who these parents, the one thing I noticed, parents feel so comfortable with you around their kids. They have spoken out to the news about how amazing of a role model you've been, how much their kids. I feel like a lot of these kids, I got the feeling maybe they tried sports before, but if you don't have that coach, it's just not going to click for a lot of these kids. And I feel like the parents really co-sign you as a coach. What struggles and obstacles have you gone through in your life that these kids probably can see through your actions, and how did you get to where you're at?
Well, I used to get picked on when I was younger, and they're like, oh, you can't do this with one hand. You can't do that. Better I can do it with two hands. But I proved myself. I practice every day. Did my homework, went outside to practice basketball, for instance, every day. Dribble the ball, shot the ball. Like these kids, they see it. They're like, man, coach, for you to have one hand, you're doing a lot of work and doing a lot of things with us. and they're amazed. Even the parents were amazed. They changed their life. I'm a great coach, but I could change a game, but I could change their life also.
Yeah, because you have your cerebral palsy has made your one arm, so the kids can see that. They can see you actually have something. They can actually see that what you went through to get to where you are, and they're not stupid. They know the sacrifices and all the work you put in to get to where you are, and I think that has a big thing to do with these kids. These kids, they learn from looking at people. They look, actions speak a lot louder than words, and they see you. You're a living, walking, motivational person.
Inspiring also with them. They always say I'm inspiring them.
Oh man, inspiration. Any other words, Angela?
Yeah, I mean, you usually hog the microphone. You do. That's okay. So, when it comes to kids, when it comes to teens, we all know, they learn by looking. These kids, they're teenagers, they're children. They only learn within the moment, right? They don't tend to think until you're older. They don't mature in the head to where they start thinking about the future, where they start thinking about the consequences of their current situation. So I think you are really showing them and pushing them towards that more mature train of thought, to where you have to think about the future, right? Because teenagers, they're all about the poor impulse control, the here and now. Yes, exactly. Do you see that a lot with your kids?
Yes, I do, but more often they come to practice though, and they go home and do what they do.
Right, and I'm sure the parents are happy about that, because on the court also has to be shown within the home.
Correct.
Right, that's amazing.
It shows show respect and honesty and loyalty.
Right. And it's hard with kids and teenagers for them to think past, they're so focused, and that's the way they learn within the moment. So what you are doing is going to be long-lasting inspiration.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, so you got through that. You just got the championship, and you don't skip a beat, Scott. Your life is dedicated to mentoring and coaching these kids, because you went through your own struggles, and you know what it's like to have somebody in your life that can really shape it. So you go from basketball, you just won the championship, and now what's on the plate for Scott, Coach Scott?
Well, I'm doing spring football now at 13U, so I'm getting them kids ready for this weekend because we got a game Saturday against the South Philly Sharks, and we're called the Coming Kings. So we're going to capture them, and I'm trying to teach them more than life in football too. So they're a little older, so this is like a little challenge for this one too. So I'm gonna try to get over this hump.
Now, what do you feel like? The one age group you coach a lot. Do you feel like there's an age group where it's a little harder, where the kids might not be as easy to mentor and kind of shape?
Yeah, it's all according like the older ones from like 14 and up, but these 13-year-olds, they're hard-headed sometimes, but when Coach Scott gets on them and tells them and talks to them the right way, they're supposed to respect you and love you and care about you, because I got a lot of respect for these 13-year-olds right now. So that's a big, big thing for me.
Now, do you speak in third person to them too, or just when you're talking to me doing an interview, Coach Scott?
No, I talk to them personally, straight to face to face.
You're forgetting, Donnie. It's not Coach Scott. I mean, does no one remember? It's Scotty Too Hottie. This I remember, Scotty Too Hottie.
Scotty Too Hottie. You don't go by that when you coach. That's just
Yes, I do.
Do you? Scotty Too Hottie?
That's right. That was his nickname. Yes.
Oh, I know.
I remember.
I know.
They still call me it.
And so just they have the nickname for you. I really felt from watching the special they did on you. You can see the connection and everything these kids have to you, have on you. But you've had some people shape your life, Scott. We talked last interview about Evelyn, your mother. Yes. God rest her soul. You watched her fight and battle with cancer?
Yes, lymphoma cancer.
Yes, and how long ago was that again she passed away? Tell the people.
9 years going on in July. And I lost an uncle in July also.
Yeah, was it Carl or?
Yes.
How did Carl pass away, if you don't mind me asking?
We don't know. I think he had a heart attack at home. My wife, Irma Pettyjohn, found him. So that
Shout out to Irma, man. I love Irma, Petty
Hey,
John.
Irma.
Hope everything's going great. So yeah, he was a big person in your life, and so was your mother. What kind of ways have them two people, your Uncle Carl and your mother Evelyn, shaped your life?
Man, they inspire me. As my uncle was a coach at one time, he used to coach football and basketball. So my family is more big in coaching these kids and everything. So my family is like a coaching family, and I learned from when I was little all the way up. Went to the games, watched them people coach, and I just started loving the game, started loving the coach, and I'm doing that now.
I know last time you mentioned you really you do this. It's bigger than just you. We know you do it for the kids and everything, but you do it in your mother's honor and your Uncle Carl, who happened to coach, and you do it for something bigger than you. Do you feel like you do it in their memory, their honor?
Yes, I'm carrying my heart every day, and wherever I go, they're watching over me and try to cheer me on wherever they at in heaven.
That's absolutely right. I mean, and people, and we talked a little bit about this last time on the podcast, people, it's been 9 years. That doesn't mean things are better. It doesn't mean that, you no longer grieve. My favorite saying is, grief is like glitter. You can be in a room and open, a big glitter bomb can go off. You can clean it up, but you're always going to find pieces of glitter here and there, probably for the rest of your life. And that's just like grief, so it can it'll be there forever. It's either going to push you or, it's going to bring you down. So what would you say, Scott, that, how the grief and the processing and the loss has inspired you?
Well, honestly, it has. It's hard by just coaching these kids and seeing them smile and trying to make me smile. For instance, there's always a bird outside my house, one or two birds, and I know that's my uncle and my mom watching me. They always chirp to me, and when I go in the house, they just leave. So it's like just look at that as remembering my mom and them looking over me and watching me, make sure I'm good and okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they do say, I think Cardinals is the one big thing, but they say birds, butterflies, depending on what people believe. Dragonflies, yeah. I know that they're always something they say. Sometimes that's somebody we love who we lost coming back in our life. If you see, it's like a sign of them. So that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I believe in that too also. Very much.
Now, these are people who affected your life, and we talk a lot about Irma Pettyjohn, your wife.
Right.
How has she been, because this is taking time away from your life. You're coaching these kids, you're traveling a lot, you're taking money out of your pocket, you're doing a lot for these kids. Sometimes loved ones might not be as understanding because they don't understand the mission, how much this means to these kids and you. How's Irma been with all this, and kind of what part has she had in it?
She has a big part in it. She knows I love the coach and love the kids, and she always takes me to places and make sure I get there to the games and stuff. Like a couple of years ago, I was coaching Delaware, Del Castle Tech, and every day of practice, she took me over there every day, truly to every day, not miss a beat. And I love her for that. And I can't say so much to her. Words is more than I can say. It's just inspiring, and I know she loves me, what I'm doing. But maybe down inside, she might not wants that time also. But she knows I love what I love to do, and she knows I love her all the way.
I feel like we haven't talked about Irma enough. Because Wade, before even coaching, I'm sure Irma has had such a huge impact on your overall well-being, your overall wellness, your overall self-esteem. I feel like we need to hear a little bit more about Irma and what an amazing woman she is.
She's very amazing. Very amazing. She just took me on her wing. She don't even look at me as she loved me for who I am. Don't look at the outlook of me. She just loves me at the inside of me. And that's a big thing that I never had. And sometimes I miss it. It's just like, wow, it's just inspiring. And like I said, it's words I can't even explain it. My actions more than I can explain.
Yeah, I believe it. And listen, I'm all about the actions. Words and promises easily broken, but the actions. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, true love. I mean, it's not the outside; it's the inside. You're supposed to fall in love with.
Correct. But
So,
I feel
are
like
you listening, viewers? To some of you your youngers, this new generation, it's a little bit different nowadays.
They're listening to Coach Scott's words. The younger generation that you coach are listening to your words. Have you had ones grow up, and because you've been coaching for a while now? I know you mentioned some of your kids who went on to some success, but any good stories where you really thought like these kids came back and you realized, like, hey man, what I'm doing, these hours I'm putting in, this time away from Irma, this time away from doing other things I could be doing, it's really paying off? Because I'm sure sometimes you might have, we all have doubts, like, is this really worth it? Am I doing something? Has there been any moments that really stood out for you, Coach Scott, where you noticed, like, hey man, what I'm doing's working?
Yeah, I had kids come back to practice and even help me out and teach these kids also with me what I taught them and gave them some encouraging words and everything. Like now I coach football. I have a couple kids that come there, give these kids encouraging words and tell them to listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. It's more than football. And they just giving words to them, that wisdom that I gave them. And it's surprising that they took this wisdom and carried with them where they're going at. It's very surprising.
How does that feel, having people in your past come back and now they're grown up a little bit and tell you that you have affected their life?
That's a lot of love. I've seen a lot of love in there, and like the parents welcome me and thank me. And like I said, I got kids from Georgia, Virginia. To this day, they all call me and check on me and how good I'm doing, and how much wisdom and everything. And they give me props, as they say, how I'm doing. And they always comment on my stuff. So I feel like I did a very good job.
That's awesome. I'm sure that makes you feel good, and makes you realize what you're doing is actually working. But Angela,
Yeah.
I know you wanted some stuff you wanted to ask Coach Scott. Let me not hog up all the mic.
Hey,
Scotty too
Scott,
hotty.
see, you had to correct him. You had to correct him. I know we always ask our definition of hope. So I just wanted to double check on you because I know it was a difficult and challenging question. Did you have anything to add from the last time?
Yeah, you have to cherish something that you want for the dream. Go for it. Don't give up and keep fighting for that dream. And you hope it will come true. Just got to keep pushing what you want. Never give up. Your life got to keep pushing and cherish what you want in life, because it will come true sooner or later. You just got to pray to God and it'll come true.
See, I must be a mind reader because I had that sense, Scotty, that you were waiting for that question and you had a completely, because we caught you unexpected last time. You definitely upgraded that from last time. That's good.
Thank you.
So Scott, I know I follow your Facebook. You post a lot of motivational stuff. I just want our viewers to know you did ask for some prayers. You might be going through some stuff, so I just want to let our viewers know. Just send a prayer out there for a guy who's doing a lot in his community. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to talk on about that, Scott? I know you still you might be coaching these kids winning the championships, but Scott Bozart, away from that coach Scotty Too Hottie, there's Scott Bozart who's going through regular stuff in his life, and that just doesn't stop because you win some championship for the local kids.
Right. Just pray for my health, and I want to move out of Jersey, out of Britain, and I want to go to Delaware. So that's what I'm really trying to go there, and hopefully I can get to that point so I can get closer to my wife and her mom and dad.
So you believe in praying, you believe in just sending positive vibes, whatever you believe in, everybody, let's do it for Coach Scott and Scott Bozart as a man.
Yeah, Scotty Too Hottie.
So, we talked a lot about your coaching and everything, Scott, and the relationship you've had with your wife and your family, your mother, your Uncle Carl, and all that stuff. What else? Tell us more about, what's in Scott Bozart's life that, might inspire you and stuff.
Well, just the people around me inspires me. People I know, like you, Angela, The different coaches I've been around, my wife, her family, because my family, I don't got nobody left but me. But so my wife's, her family is my family now. So that's a big old aspiring thing also. And I know they love me and care about me also. They come and see me, whatever. I see them. That just brings smiles to my face knowing that I have a family that loves me.
So how's that been, having, like you said, you don't have your family and you going in the Irma's family and them accepting you and showing you such love like your family, which you are now. How's that been for you?
That's a lot of respect and love and caring and whatever you could think of. It is, I don't know, it's cherished me and love me and care for me to make me smile and brings tears to my eyes when I say about it. Think about it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. And I know you and Irma, I met you guys through my professional wrestling shenanigans when I used to do professional wrestling. You were at a lot of shows. We got a relationship through that. I know you're a diehard professional wrestling fan. You had WrestleMania this week.
Yes.
I think you might have been there. My first match ever was against Damian Priest. I think I'm going to put that pin on him. I'm just saying. But he was on WrestleMania this week, so I know you got to see that. Wrestling's really been a big part of your life, right, Scott?
Yes. It's just things to see, like people are doing what they can do, where their dreams come true, and keep pushing and keep training and have their coaches and tell them things to go higher level and do what they got to do to get where they got to get at. Like, for instance, Monster Factory, you're one step away from WWE, and now some of these wrestlers are in WWE. And that's a big thing to see that, and it's put a smile on my face, and knowing that if they can do it, I can go to a higher level also. Like, I want to go like NFL, so hopefully I'll get there one day.
Yeah, and the dream doesn't have to be WWE. You can go to host a show at Toxic Radio. You all have different dreams. Just because you don't make WWE doesn't mean you're not living the dream. You can have a show with the beautiful Angela over here and the great producers, Jamie and Toxic Mike. I don't need a belt to be happy, Scott. I don't need a belt.
I'm not talking about you, Donnie, though.
See,
I feel like that was a personal shot.
So what I'm hearing is that I have a chance. What you're saying is I have a chance. I could be in the WWE.
Correct. So you got to train and keep doing what you got to do.
I say I can do it. I might make it there before you, Donnie.
We have
That's fire.
The big thing I had that she can have is I had Pretty Boy Larry Sharp.
I thought you were going to say something else, so I was trying to swallow really quick.
I
thought you were going to something about genetics, but it's okay. We'll have that contest later.
But I had Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. He was a great mentor, a great coach. He was just somebody awesome. You had him and Bill Wiles. They were just two guys who really mentored me, and they were guys who been to the top, who coached people to get there. So they're coaches who had big effects on my life. I always talk about the coaches. I think of them guys, and then I think that the biggest coach I ever had in my life was Dan Pidcock, Coach Pidcock from Clearview High School. This is a guy I literally go to war for. He was a guy who did so much, and I've learned so much from coaches. I've shared this a few times. I've had coaches from high school where they stopped coaching me 15 years ago, and then I go through, bad time in my life when my brother passed, and, to get me out of some of them darkest times, I used lessons in my life that I learned as a 17-year-old, 16-year-old on a football field down there in the lower 40, the Peach Fields down in Clearview, from guys like Pidcock and Wiseburn and Coach Gray and all them great guys. And I'm sure a lot of kids in your life, you go through struggles in life, and it's crazy how somebody like a Coach Scott or Coach Pidcock can, the words, you're planting the seed in these kids. Like, when you're at that lowest moment in your life, sometimes you try to grasp things that made you feel good, people who made you feel good. You always, I did that quote, I think Angela shared, the Maya Angela quote, people never forget how you make them feel. And you always remember how a coach makes you feel. We had Richard Jensen, whose story won an Emmy on ESPN, and I shared that the other day, I think, on Facebook. But he really talks about, he's a guy who he was in prison. He was addicted to drugs. Did 7 years in prison, 15 years homeless and addicted to drugs. And at like 30 years old, Scott, this guy decided, where was he happiest in life? And it was his high school wrestling and what his coaches taught him. So this guy walked on to a college wrestling team in his mid-30s. And he had a dream, and they laughed at him. He came in there, and 2 years later, he went to the national championships. 4 years after that, he was a national champion wrestler at 36 years old. This was a guy who was addicted to drugs and homeless. 7 years in prison, 15 years homeless, all the destruction he put on his body. But he went back to what his coaches taught him when he was 18 years old, that seed they planted. And, it probably saved his life. It didn't probably. It saved his life. The guy has books out. He won an Emmy. ESPN did a documentary on him. So I'm sure in effect, even a lot of these kids are still young. You've been coaching for a while, but a lot of these kids, you probably still haven't seen that seed that you planted, Scott. And I'm sure you look forward to seeing that.
Yes, I do. Right now, like I said, the streets is out here coming, like community-wise, streets is taking the kids away from the sports and the good things, and the gangs, the drugs, the guns. It's just not good for these kids out here. So I'm trying to get them, try to plant the seed before it's too late, before they either go in the hospital, they pass away, or they in jail, and their life is over with. I don't want to see that, because some of these kids don't deserve that, where they see these streets and these guns, and some of these kids just get shot for no reason, and that hurts me a lot when I see that. I had a couple of kids I knew that, one of my good players I had, his name was Dave Stat, and I found out he got shot, and that just brought tears to my eyes. And he was getting out the gang and turning his life around, and man, it was just shocking news. And I had another kid, he's in prison for life for killing his mom, his baby mom, and that's just
So, Coach Scott, I got to ask you the question. You coach these kids. You put so much of your time, your own money, your own free time, things you can be doing anything else in the world. You have a wife. You have other things going on. You sacrifice all this time. You really feel like you're doing something good for these kids, and you really feel like you're changing their life. And then you find out one of these kids you coach, one of these kids that you tried so hard to change, is in jail doing life for killing somebody. Or you find out one who tried to get out of the gang, you tried to help them, and they just didn't get out, and they got shot. How does that make you feel, Scott? Does that make you feel like, man, why am I doing this? This isn't working. I can't do this. How does that make you feel when you heard that kid was in jail doing life? How did that make Scott Bozard as a man and Coach Scott feel?
It brought me down a lot, but I had to figure out different ways to talk to these kids, and maybe my way of showing them and telling them and preaching to them. I just changed my ways, and maybe that'll stick in their head and the ways they think, and hopefully the way I talk to them and the way I just changed my mindset. It hurt it when I found that out. It brought tears, and I was like, man, I'm ready to give up. I was like, these kids ain't listening. I'm like, dang, am I doing something right? Am I teaching them right? Am I saying the right words? So what's my outlook? So I sat back and thought about it, and a mentor actually taught me some things, and his name is Carrie Galloway from Delaware. He's the one who taught me a lot of things about life and teaching these kids to keep them right and keep them out of trouble. And that took a lot of big, amazing things from me. Just sitting there and listening to him and preaching to me, and words sticking in my mind, using his words and using it for the kids. And it's amazing that how he touched me and I'm touching these kids. It's a big part of it, and love.
So do you regret it all not giving up the coaching? Any time where you're like, man, maybe I should give up. I would have more time for Irma, for other stuff to do in my personal life. Any time where you're like, man, maybe I kind of regret this.
It comes towards my mind sometimes. I mean, like I said, my wife is more important in the world, but it is like, man, I'm right. It's like I need to give more time to my wife, and she knows I love to coach. So, I mean, she don't say nothing, but I know deep inside she don't really like it, but she might love it. But she know I'm doing good things for these kids, and she sees that, and she aspires to see that. So hopefully I can just touch these kids' hearts and get back to my life with my wife.
Yeah, no regrets. No regrets. Live life with no regrets.
Keep going, Ange.
Because it is too. Because he got dry mouth now. Because life is too short, right? And unfortunately, sometimes you have these events in life where you're doing the good work, You know you are giving these kids everything, and unfortunately you have an occasional, a setback. That is not a reflection on you. That is, that's should never sway you from continuing to inspire and doing good, because it outweighs all the once in a blue moon occasional situations that are unfortunate. And you have to also take in mind and consideration, there's so many people watching, so many people listening that you don't even know. They're not saying anything to you, but they're inspired by you. They may be walking by the basketball court and they see, this gentleman teaching these kids, talking to these kids. That stranger's never going to reach out to you, but in his mind, he's going to remember that situation. He's going to remember seeing you. So that's what you got to focus on.
And let's be honest. I really think, having your handicap, you can call it a handicap, but it's something I feel that's motivated you, something that's actually, you took in a handicap and you made it into something that benefits you, something that has made you better. You're almost a better man because you had this handicap. People see you. You only have the use of one arm, and they see the cerebral palsy, and I feel like just the way you handle yourself. You can't change the fact you got cerebral palsy. You can't change that. You can't go back and change it. You can just act, live that way and show how you're living with that, how you handled that hand that you were dealt in life. I feel like that goes a big way.
Yes, it does. It's a positive life for me. It makes me fight more in the man I am today, and how I handle stuff for these kids and show them how to talk to them. Because now these kids, they got two hands, but they look at me like, okay, if Coach Scott can do this and do whatever his hand, and his left, he got cerebral palsy, and he coaches us and he teaches us good things and he teaches life lessons. And like I said, they come back to this day and love me. And when they see me on the street, it's all love. Coach Scott, I could go to Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York. My wife was with me at the time. We would be at a Jets game or something. We go watch the Jets. They're like, Coach Scott, she's like, Dad, people way up here. I know people in Philly. Like, Coach Scott, she's like, man, how you know all these people? I was just like, I don't know. I was like, they must be watching me or inspired by me or whatever. And
that's right.
That brings a smile to my face. And like I said, on Facebook, I got people I don't even, like Ann said, I don't even know these people. And they share my story like, oh, I saw you on Facebook Live, and I saw you on Channel 6 News. I saw you on the Oscars or commercial. It's like, wow, I'm on Oscar commercial. I'm like, nah, I ain't on no commercial. And I watched it. I was on commercial.
Wait, are you the one who slapped Chris Rock?
Yeah, right. I wish.
Okay, I get it.
I was on a commercial, not
But I think, Scotty Too Hottie, I think you also show numerous people with handicaps, disabilities, whatever the case may be, is that, you're not a victim. And you can go two ways with that in life. You can be a victim and do the woe is me card, or you know what, you can stand up and say, this is a gift. I'm going to show people this is a gift. I'm going to prove them wrong and inspire others. And that's the kind of genuine people that we need in this world, right? 'Cause we're not victims.
Right. I don't consider my victim regardless. I saw me as a positive look, and I just keep fighting and showing them. Like, the kids picked on me, or they think I couldn't do this and do that, but I can do things that I can put my mind to it. You just got to put your mind to it. You can do anything you want.
Right, and that's an important thing, right? Because we all get bullied, right? Or whatever the case may be, but you're not a victim to that bullying where it's, you are of a certain age. We have to get over that at some point and prove the bullies, because it's not going to be the only bully you're going to have in life. You're going to have a whole other life full of bullies. They're just described and under disguise a certain way, right? But I can't live in the past 40 years ago that I was bullied and not make a difference in the world because of that.
Right. I mean, it was hard, but I got around it. I used to come home from school and cry to my mom, like, Mom, why am I like this? And what can I do? And she just put positive stuff in me. And I just, like I said, as a kid, I'm taking that seat what my mom told me, my uncle told me, my coaches told me, and I just put it to work. And now I'm doing it now, same way for these kids, showing them that I can do something.
Yeah,
it's all about them.
Absolutely, man. And I think a lot of these kids, we talk on this show a lot about bullying and people, overcoming. I overcame a handicap when I was a kid. I was in special need classes and everything, and having like a coach or somebody where these kids can go to, especially one who's been through stuff like that, I feel like that's that can be amazing. You know, when I was that young, I really didn't have a coach in my life, so I found my own coach, and my coaches became Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, the Legion of Doom, you know, and my brother, you know, my brother would put this wrestling on. I've spoken about it on the show a lot. I'd go home and, you know, I'd watch the wrestling. You know, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I had a speech impediment, and I was just a little kid. I didn't understand, so I'd go home and I'd watch these guys. So they became my coaches. Hulk Hogan dropping the leg drop, that became my coach. I'm like, you know, if I could be one of these guys that big and everything, nobody's ever going to pick on me. I'm the size of Hulk Hogan with the 24-inch pythons. And unfortunately, that created a monster. And, you know, I just kept on wanting to be, you know, Legion of Doom. And that's, you know, years, you know, you think 15 years later after, you know, I was a little 5-year-old kid, you know, 20 years later, there I am, this big grown-ass man with a mohawk, you know, doing professional wrestling because I was molded when I was 5 years old by these people who became the coaches, you know, I really didn't have in my life. And things like that I never forgot. Even when I got into wrestling, I like thought back. I was in that point in my life where, you know, I was chasing the professional football thing. It just wasn't working out, and I tried to go back to that spot where I was the happiest in life and where I felt the best. And it took me back to them days, you know, watching wrestling with my brother. And it was really our bond. And he was still alive during this time, but that was like our thing. And I was like, you know, I'm going to chase this for us. And, you know, a lot of people go back to them years. They go through something in life or they're at that point. They're going to go back and remember Coach Scott, you know, the things he taught. And Angela also coaches. You do the CrossFit coaching.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Angela. How's that been? Did you have any coaching experience before? Did you coach any youth sports? Any cheerleading?
I mean, I did, like, you know, cheerleading. I coached cheerleading for a little bit. Younger girls, you know, things like that. It's been, you know, I'm still coaching as much as I can. It's just really difficult because of, you know, I would be out of CrossFit for a week and a half, and my schedule is all over the place. So I don't have a set schedule for coaching just because my life really doesn't allow for a set schedule because every day is different. So it's hard to not be in that regular steady position because, you know, I was helping people and I was making a difference, you know, however minor, and how that made me feel. And now it's like, you know, randomly I'm coaching and picking up slots when I'm able to. So I miss it. I miss it terribly.
So you coach, you know, I had some experience doing personal training with older adults. When you do your CrossFit, you're dealing, you know, Scott's dealing with a lot of young kids who are still developing and stuff. You're dealing with some people, sometimes they might be going adults, but sometimes they're adults. A lot of adults get into the gym, CrossFit, whatever it is, because they're trying to change their life for better. And there's nothing better to see than somebody who's trying to change their life for the better, whether it be through the gym, maybe some kind of addiction, maybe they trying to get a better education, they don't know how to read, whatever. Nothing better than seeing them. I always say how I used to hate the gym after New Year's. I used to literally, that was the only time in my life I'd take off for like a month because I see these people come in who didn't know what they were doing. They were out of shape, and I just want to fight them all. And sometimes I would, and it wasn't good for me. And now, like, my favorite time of the year in the gym is that January to February, because that's when all the New Year's people come in, and I see these people, and I see them trying to change their life, and I'm sure you see that, Angela. But the worst part is then, like, March comes around, and, like, the guy I've been seeing really busting his butt and getting better, he disappears. And then I'm like, they did it to me again.
Yeah.
But how does that feel? You have adults, and you see them.
Yeah, I mean, I have adults, and I think people forget, much like bartenders, right? We're more than just coaches. We are people's therapists sometimes, too. So it's good that I have that background, and I do that for a living because, you know, sometimes people come to the gym not just to feel better or to look better, but to escape things. And instead of, you know, going back to substance or whatever the case may be, or going to a substance, it's coming to that atmosphere, especially my CrossFit adversary people. You know, it's more like a family, very comfortable atmosphere where sometimes you would go to a CrossFit box and it's not always super friendly because they're super, super competitive. And, here it's come one, come all, and we're all different sizes. It's just, but adults are hard sometimes, because you're not really you're coaching them for safety and you're coaching them for form and technique, because ultimately that's what's going to make them better.
Correct. They also look at you for counseling too, for different things.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Which
more
I
for
like.
the bartender. Now, anytime I know I've experienced and Coach Scott probably has, anytime where you've coached people in fitness related stuff, Angela, and maybe you've seen some progress, and then for whatever reason that person just stopped coming around, they stopped trying to better their life through fitness. How does that feel, especially when somebody's making a positive change? Do you question your tactics? How do you deal with that?
No, I'm not going to question myself, and I'll tell you why. Because what happens is that if we start noticing you not around, then we're reaching out. We are reaching out to you. What's going on? Talk to us. We miss you. We want to see you. And usually it's nothing personal, and it's towards us, whatever the case may be. But we do reach out. Let them know that we're there. We're like I said, we're more than just a gym and cardio, but I'm more disappointed now in the fact that I don't have a set schedule, because you would see people making huge differences and you would see the smiles once a technique clicks for them. But I am coming back, and I am noticing a lot of people in the gym that I haven't been able to see on a regular making such good progress. And I remember having conversations with people when they first started, and I just said, just keep coming back. Just keep coming back. And those people who listen to me are coming back, and they're making a huge progress.
You make a great point. I was always taught that, and it really makes more sense nowadays than ever. Just showing up. Mm-hmm. Just show up in life. You just got to show up, man. When you show up, amazing things can happen. You just got to show up. You just got to get back off that canvas, get back up, and just show up in life, man. You can do it feeling down and out. You can do it feeling lazy, feeling like a piece of shit, feeling like everything else is falling around. You can feel beaten. You can feel down. But if you just get back up and you just show up in life, you just be there, amazing things can happen. That's half the battle, right, Coach Scott?
Yeah, because the words you hear, the words you take in, that pushes you to like, oh, I'm going to be there every day. Listen to this word, listen to this technique, listen to this challenge, listen to what to do. And it's a big challenge, but like these kids come every day to practice. They love seeing me and love to hear me talk and love me teaching them. It just makes me love to see it.
You never know, like Angela had mentioned, people, it's just like with anything in life, when somebody's trying to get better, you can beat it in their head, you can do everything, and just sometimes people, for whatever reason, they just won't listen. I believe there's something bigger than us. There's a destiny in life. There's something already planned where, for whatever reason, that's just not the moment for that person to change that way. And there's a reason there, honestly is. Some of the times where my life was going down and somebody might have reached out to help, and I didn't. I'm sure, I had to go through some more because it's going to help somebody else. Somebody had to see every punch I took to learn the story. Every beating I took, I needed. One less beating, I wouldn't have been where I'm at. And sometimes you learn your greatest thing when you're that beat down, when you feel like you don't have any more, and you still get up and you don't feel like being there, but you show up in life for whatever reason. Something, maybe it's something bigger than you. Maybe it's in honor of somebody else. You don't have to do it for yourself. You just got to show up. And sometimes when you're at that lowest point, that's when you learn. And then the greatest thing in life I've learned from doing this show, from having people like you on, people learn the most lessons from people. You're coaching people when you don't even realize it, Scott. When Angela, even since Angela's done this show, since I've done this show, her sharing her story, so many people have watched, especially people who knew her as a coach. She's doing more lessons. You're doing more lessons than people watching your life. Your life actions speak louder than words. People, I can say I'm going to do this, I can say that and that. No, you get up and you do it. Just fucking do it. And people watch, and that's when people get the most inspiration. They see Angela going through her fight with cancer, and people aren't dumb. Just like they know you're battling your you only have the use of one arm. People can see this. They know that. And they see, you don't have to tell them, like, hey, I'm doing it. Nah. You don't have to feel sorry. They just see you. They see the actions Angela does. Putting that smile on, keep on going, fighting on days you don't want to fight, showing up in life, getting off that canvas, and showing up and putting that fight up. And people see that in you too, Scott, and they see it in Angela. Just our actions can be the difference too, along with the coaching. I'm sure you've seen that firsthand, Scott.
Yes, the feelings and just sitting there and knowing they see you with one hand, like, so these parents, they're just sitting back taking in what you're telling them, and the parents are just listening what you're telling their kids. They're taking it and using it for them also to see what they can do with their life. And I had a couple, like I said, parents coming to me how their kids had their life changed big time, because there's kids was out there in the street that don't even go to the street no more. They stay home, do what they do, go to school, work. And like I told them, school comes first before football, and the grades come first, because without the grades, you ain't gonna have a good job. And they just take it from there, and they take it. They run with it. Some might be hard headed because they're out the street listening about, oh, why does the Coach Scott? Why he telling you this? No, you should be doing this. No, some kids are like, no, I'm listening to Coach Scott because he's telling us positive things, and they have to tell me that to themselves. They came up to me and said positive. These people out here in the streets trying to change them. They said, no, we're not changing our life. We're doing what Coach Scott tells us to do, so we can get out of this town. And these parents even said it, and they're happy with what I tell these kids and what I say. It comes from my heart. They know it's not just like a lesson. It comes from my heart. It's not written down. This comes from my mind, my mindset, everything. You just gotta sit back and listen what people tell you. Like I said, I had coaches teach me. I was ready to give up sometimes, but coaches tell me, and I just sit back, listen, soak it in, and work with it, and keep preaching what they preach to. It's how they teach me.
Being right now, crime, even in this area, violent crime is just like really up. I've been noticing. I feel like more kids are and more gangs and guns. Maybe it's not, but it just seems like it. And you see it firsthand. You're with these kids. You're coaching these kids. Scott, what would you say, just personally? What do you think is the big thing that leads a kid to that life of crime, to joining a gang, to getting into violence, to going down that road where they end up in life in prison? Is there one thing you notice at that age when they're a teenager? What would you say is one big determination of sending them down that wrong path?
People be telling me it's easy money out there to make easy money. They don't have to work. They can make easy money out in the street. Or you can rob somebody, or you can shoot somebody. Here's a gun. Go do this and go get your money. Easy money. Drugs. Tell you these drugs. That's easy money. And I see that all the time. And like these kids I teach is hopefully that what I'm telling them, they go the right path instead of not going to jail and not going and be in the graveyard. I don't want to go visit the graveyard, see them. Because I go visit my mom a lot now. I don't want to go visit no kids in the grave. And I will be depressed.
It's horrible seeing a kid. I've been there to bury kids through wrestling. Some of our fans, Super Adam, he was a kid who passed away. Yeah, knowing that's the risk you connected, and you even know coaching these kids, a lot of these at-risk kids, that's the chance you're taking. Now you're connecting with kids. Now you're building this relationship, and you could be setting yourself up for having to go to a funeral, or having to visit a kid who's doing life in prison, or visiting a kid in a hospital just got shot in a drive-by. And you're setting yourself up for this, but I'm sure that's a risk you're willing to take.
Very. I'll take any kind of risk to save these kids' life and get them off the streets. Because, hey, I love the kids. They're like my own. I might have no kids, but I love these kids as my son, my daughter, or whatever. I take them in. I treat them like they're my own.
Now we're gonna go back to the people who molded you. Now, obviously Angela's battling her cancer. How was it watching Evelyn, your mother, battling that, going through that? I'm sure she kind of taught you just from how she handled that and everything. What kind of impact that had in your life, Scott?
It had a very big impact in my life because I was there every day watching my mom suffer and fighting for me. So I'll be okay. And my uncle at the time was still living. She said to take care of my uncle. So I know at that point, she's telling me I got to be a fighter and take over her life and take over the responsibilities of my uncle and take care of everything. And my wife also was there helping me also to go through
Shout
this.
out to Irma.
She took care of my mom. She came down from Delaware, took care of my mom. Where it was hard for me, where I couldn't do so many things, and she took over and took care of my uncle also. And that was a very, very impact on my life. And that was what loved me. Nothing even loved me more. That I know this was the woman that I needed in my life, and she showed me that by her actions. And like I said, words can't tell you, but your actions can describe more than you know.
Now,
And her actions showed me love.
now I lost my brother. That's had such a big impact on what I do in my life. That's more in my life. Now, you lost two important people in your life, your mom tragically to cancer and your Uncle Carl. Anybody who might have lost a loved one tragically, they might be, seeking them answers. It might not be taking it good, or they might be struggling, asking themselves why, and all this stuff we do. What kind of advice would you give to them people, Scott?
Just know that they're in your heart. You got to carry their love, their cherish, what they showed you. Man, it's just a lot you can do. It's hard to say and explain, but tell them, you got to keep doing what you're doing in life. Don't ever give up what you're doing, because they won't want you to give up on what you're doing in life.
Basically, live your life for them. You're basically saying, because now you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for them. So I also got to ask you, for you went through there. You were by your mom's side when she was battling her cancer. Anybody out there with a loved one who's going through that? Any advice you'd like to give them, Scott?
Just keep being there for that person. Show them love, because you never know what will happen. Just keep pushing them and keep fighting with them, and tell them never don't give up. And just keep loving and cherishing them, because you never know what will happen. You just remember the memories that you have with this person and keep fighting. Say, keep fighting. Don't give up on it. Don't give up on them person. Cherish them, what you have with them. Just keep being there. Hug them. Show them love. Comfort them at the same time. Just comfort them, because you're gonna have that all the time in your heart. Just keep desiring that they'll get through it, and they will get through it if they pray to God.
Yeah, and now, Angela, you're the other point. Scott was there for his mother. You're somebody who is going through this. You're living it every day. What would you tell? Do you have any words for somebody who's I put you on the spot here.
It really depends on my mood.
I just love how you handle everything. Just be honest, because I feel like we need an open talkway. A lot of people don't know how to handle stuff. Anything you'd want to tell, family or any friends or anybody who's trying to be by your side, anybody dealing with this, watching you deal with this.
It's really hard to kind of give advice, because it does depend on my mood, right? I woke up this morning to like a ridiculous amount of text messages, like question after question after question after question. I don't want to. Sometimes we are tired of answering questions. A lot of times when people say, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm good, I'm fine." Because if you say, "Oh, my feet hurt today," well, is it from the chemo? Is it the cancer, do you think? Is it worse? Is it worse from last round? Is it worse from the round before that? Describe the pain to me. And you're just like, I don't want, I'm okay. So you just start telling people you're okay and you're fine. And people mean well. So don't get the wrong impression why I say this. Everyone wants me to fight. I hear it a lot, And I love it, but at the end of the day, it's so easy to tell someone to keep fighting, and it's so easy to tell them to keep fighting, and you gotta fight, and you gotta fight when you're the only one doing that fight, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So sometimes it's hard. I have a very hard time recently with people saying, "I know there's gonna, the cancer's going to go away. It's going to be cured. I can feel it." Realistically, that's not going to happen for me. So there's times, and it depends on the mood. And sometimes the cancer itself makes you super grouchy. And there's times, I am super grouchy and I just don't want to answer questions. It's hard to be able to tell you what we kind of cancer patients want to hear, because it's different every day. hard.
You always got to believe in miracles, though. That's one thing. You got to believe in miracles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be baby Jesus's miracle. Like, I know this. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful every morning I wake up and I feel like that's a miracle. And I'm okay with that miracle because I have to be okay with that miracle. I just left, a couple Sundays ago, I left my friend's house. We had what we call Sunday Fun Day. And I left the house and I thought to myself, I hope they remember this time with me. And it's so weird because you don't think of that when you leave people's houses. You don't think about that when you have moments with people. And at the age of 39, this is the stuff I think about. I hope people remember the small moments, the laughs. And that's another reason why it's so important for me to bring these videos is, because it's something, I'm giving you guys something, right? I'm giving you a video. I'm giving you these things to remember me by. So I do have a secret selfish mission when it comes to these videos as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like what she's saying is kind of what my brother preached in his later years in life. Almost like he knew what was going to happen in his life. You just got to appreciate every moment. You can't think past that. Just appreciate the time you have here with somebody. We don't, everything's predetermined in my mind. I feel like we can't change destiny, even we tried. So,
That's right.
you just appreciate it, enjoy the moment. Because you get caught up in other stuff, you're gonna lose enjoying that moment, the precious times, the memories you're gonna remember, the life changing ones. Because you're thinking about other stuff, just live for the moment, mad to live.
Yeah,
But
I remember saying to my mom, go to concerts. You never been to? We went to country concerts. My wife took her to country concerts. I remember all the memories. I mean, hey, you never know. But I knew she was getting to the end when she was ready to give up because she told me to take care of my uncle. I knew what time it was. And
Yeah.
We know when we're done.
I remember, my brother's funeral. His buddy Mike Condradas, great guy. Shout out to Big Cun. He gave a speech, and I remember he was like, they went to a country concert. I think it was Jason Aldean. I was there, whatever. And my brother looked over to him and all seriousness, and he was like, one thing in my life, man, I just really wish I did more. And Big Cum was waiting to hear this thing, and he looks at it, he's like, I wish I went to more country concerts. There are all these girls in little shorts and boobies everywhere in the hat, and that's what he said. He's like, I wish, my brother hated country. He's like, I really wish I went to more country concerts. And
I never liked the country either, to my mom.
Yeah, Big Cum was waiting to hear this motivational speech, and he's just looking around at all the girls, and it's just a fun time. But Scott, I just want to thank you for coming on the show again, catching up with us, letting us know everything going on, man. Anything you want to leave with? We got a minute left, Scott.
Just want to say thank you to you and Angela for having me on the show. Y'all are really aspiring to me and keep pushing me where I'm doing. And Angela, just keep fighting for me, please.
I will, sir. No
Don't
doubt.
say,
No doubt.
Don't say, I don't want to hear no more negative stuff from you.
No. There's nothing negative at all.
They're going to be in WrestleMania against Scott
Nothing
Bozart.
negative at all. And you all stay tuned for, since we're talking country, I want to talk some country. I'm kidding. So tune in for April 19th. That's my 6th round of chemo. I already have the video planned. Not going to give it away. You got to tune in for that. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, so that's April 19th. Anything else you want to hit the people with before we get out of here, Ange?
Me? No. I mean, we'll talk next week about how my 5th round went. Because I did that round all by myself, and I did it by myself for a reason. We'll talk next Wednesday, people, about that.
All right. Hungry for Hope Nation, thank you for tuning in. Scott, thank you for joining us. Angela, thank you for being an amazing co-host. Toxic Radio, thank you for producing us. We're out of here. See you next week.